Young, like a new moon rising, fierce through the rain and lightning, wandering out into this great unknown. And I don't want no one to cry, but tell them if I don't survive, I was born free. I was born free. I was born free. Born free.
I don't know how anybody could not like that. I know it's not Tom's favorite. Power and Speed. I just thought that was fitting.
It's good.
Very fitting.
It's fine. Even though everybody listens is like, man, we're on the wrong podcast.
That's fine.
The hell's going
That's
on?
fine. They'll get the point in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, they will. Hey, we're Power and Speed. Here again, 908-751-0211. Tad?
And be liking us on Facebook and iTunes.
Very good, Ted. That was good. You're back in practice. I threw that back at you after Fudley said something.
What did Fudd say?
He was, well, you're not there, so I couldn't get the beginning of the show started. I didn't think about it. And then I said, all right, Tad, do your thing. I found this, whatever. And I'm like, short circuit.
God.
Yeah, because I didn't have the handoff from Tom, so.
But as you pointed out before you came in,
yep,
I de-stupided your mic.
Thank you.
So you're fine.
Thank you.
You won't catch anything.
Good.
We're good.
They already know what's going on.
Big day tomorrow.
Big day tomorrow. Big day tomorrow. First, I would like to formally thank Alan for sitting in for you yesterday. Last week.
Yeah.
Second, Alan, beat it. Because I don't even want to hear your mouth. I don't want to see anything in the chat room because you are a polluted human being.
And a failure.
I am not going to have it. I'm not going to have you pollute our listeners. You're going to beat it. Or you're going to be quiet, one or the other. And then you can come back. 7:15. Go to your safe space and slap the shit out of yourself.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm saying.
Safe space.
So now, okay, I'm going to try to...
Mike's fired up.
Try to be calm here.
Yeah, good luck with that.
You know why? Why I'm fired up?
Yeah, I do.
I'm fired up because, according to people I know, I'm uneducated. I'm crude.
You are pretty crude.
I can be, but I can also fit the mold required.
As far as you know.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
What other adjectives have been used to describe, well, not just me, but anybody that's voting for Trump?
Sexist, misogynistic,
the plural.
racist.
Yes.
All of the above.
All the above.
We must all be all of that.
All right. Let me start by saying, I don't...
If you like massages, does that mean you're misogynistic?
Perhaps. Hang on.
All right. Sorry.
Bye, Alan.
Well played.
Well played.
Tad, you got to be ready because if Mike's going to use all kind of big words that I don't know what they
Alan
mean.
started running his grill.
Alan
started running his grill, so he's out.
Good.
So there you go, Alan. Sit there in your stupidness. Oh, boy, Jeff, you might want to leave for a few minutes. I see Fireman Jeff came on.
Nah, Jeff will be all right.
All right. First, I want to say, matter of fact, Jeff can vouch for me 100%. Will I say stupid shit about women? Of course I will. What guy doesn't? Will I say...
Alan.
Will I make stupid jokes, sometimes racial, sometimes homophobic? Of course I will.
Say grab him in the pooter?
No, I would never say that. That was a very odd thing. Will I say things that are inappropriate? Of course. Of course I will. You know why? Because I'm a human.
Can I call timeout for a minute?
Sure.
What? Can we preface this real fast? Because I think we got a bunch of new listeners tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want them to think that, we shouldn't want them to think that this is how it happens every week. So
no, this isn't how it happens.
So me and Mike were talking yesterday, and he's like, man, we got to talk about the election a little bit. It's an important part of our country's, going forward,
To be honest with you, in fairness, as much as it pains me to say this, you have to vote. I don't care. I do care, but for you, I don't care who you're voting for.
I do.
You have to vote. You have to take part in the process, because if you don't run your fucking mouth, because you got nothing to say. Sure. You really don't. And that bothers me.
Yep.
But continue. Everybody's got to do it.
Yeah, no. So I was just saying, I don't want any of the new listeners. I mean, our regular guys on here know that we're half retarded, but the new people, but it's Mike's serious about this, as am I. And the new people, I don't want you to think that this is what goes on here. We do talk about car shit, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a lot of information, and most people love what we do. I saw some people in Vegas and over the weekend, and they couldn't have enough nice things to say.
Made it all the way out to Vegas? Wow.
I did, yeah, on Friday.
Not you. I mean,
and there's another thing that we don't say often enough, and I realized it's been missing from this when I listen back. I got to thank everybody that listens and likes us. I mean, you had people come up to you out there and at the past show.
Yep.
And that's fantastic.
Pretty cool.
It is. It's fantastic. And we do appreciate it.
So we are going to deviate a little bit during this show. And if you don't want to hear it, if you read the intro, Mike said very nicely, and I agreed, go find your safe space. And, I said, cry yourself to sleep. He said, slap yourself around.
I said, slap the shit out of yourself.
Yeah, right. Exactly. So whatever you want to do. But I think you guys should and gals should man up and tighten your skirt and just pay attention.
I will say this as plainly as possible. I don't think in any stretch of the imagination I'm a racist.
No, you're not.
I know Tom at his core. I don't think he's racist.
Tad?
Yes. Bueller?
Even Tad.
No, Tad's
okay.
He's not okay. He's just not a racist.
Thanks.
Have I objectified women? Yeah, I found out the other day that there was a girl I was talking to. I kept calling her dear. And she goes, it's not viewed very well. And that's kind of what started the other day. That I can't call a girl. I do that as just being nice.
Yeah, or
being
respectful
friendly.
or something.
It was absolutely respectful.
Yeah.
But it has been added to the arsenal that if I'm having a discussion with someone of the female persuasion, to know that it's very sarcastic. Whatever you say, dear, will elicit a certain response.
In some of them.
Yeah.
The more good-looking, confident ones aren't like that.
You really think so? No, that's a little misogynist.
I know it is.
I would say that the thing that bothered me is the people that are supporting Hillary need to realize a few things. Number one,
they're retarded.
Well, that's true.
Sorry.
They need to realize that they represent the party of tolerance. I have never, in all of the time that I've been interfacing with people, seen more intolerant people, seen more people willing to talk down to someone than I have a Hillary supporter or a liberal in general.
Yep.
When you tell them you are supporting Trump.
Yep.
You get called exactly what you said, racist, misogynistic, blah, blah, blah. I mean, you go down the fucking list.
All the big word list.
All the big words. And, at some point you kind of have to man up and say, look, I'm not going to tolerate being called these things. I don't care if it's a trigger warning for you fucking idiots. Too fucking bad. I live here too. I don't like what I see going on in the country. With that said, is Trump the ideal Republican wet dream? Of course not. Anybody that thinks he is the ideal, he is the savior of the United States, well, you should get in line with the liberal screwballs that need their head examined, because he's not quite that good. We all know that. But
well, in one respect, he really could be better than anybody could imagine, because just knocking off the establishment, if that can really happen.
And I don't think he's looking for a re-election either. He just wants to.
Nobody knows if he's going to knock.
Nobody knows. It is a wild card. But I will say this: his behavior is, for lack of a better term, at times deplorable. I mean, some of the things he's done in the past, not good. Mm-hmm. That whole thing with Billy Bush, not good.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
a lot of bad stuff.
Yep, criminal activity.
Not so much.
No,
not so much.
Making our country less safe?
Not so much.
But he didn't call half the country deplorable either. So
that honestly, the deplorable thing didn't bother me. I kind of laughed at that.
Yeah,
like, you fucking losers. That's the best you can come up with.
Did he mishandle classified stuff?
No.
Nah, not that I know of.
Now, when we're talking about all this stuff, all of his behavior, everything he has done wrong, everybody needs to keep one very key point in mind. He was not an elected official.
Right.
He was working for himself, for his family.
Yep.
He was doing, and look, that whole Billy Bush thing, yeah, that was clumsy, awkward. We said it before. I personally view that, because I do it.
Yeah.
He was playing to an audience.
Yeah.
Billy Bush was laughing.
Yep.
You know why Billy Bush was with him? A whole bunch of liberals don't know this. Here, in case you guys can't figure this out and somehow or another this makes it on Hannity before the election. You know why he was talking to Billy Bush like that? He was there from Access Hollywood to give Trump a nice big, we had a great time with Trump, to give him a nice boost. So why would you not try to make the guy laugh?
Right.
Bad choice of words. Sure. Terrible. But in comparison, and I realize that next thing the liberals are going to say is that, well, there's no evidence. For anybody that thinks that Hillary put in an email server as a technology guy that runs an email server that has set up everything from DNS all the way start to finish, there is no way in Hillary did this for convenience. None. She did this to be away from the
not transparent.
Not transparent.
Yeah,
that's what she did. Yeah,
have full control.
Didn't her maid do it?
No. Tad, you might want to be quiet for a few minutes. She did this to hide what she was doing.
No doubt.
There is no explanation. And one of my liberal friends said, "Well, she didn't have good tech advice." Are you fucking kidding me? The Secretary of State couldn't get good tech advice?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, but that's how they are. That's how they talk. Everything's an excuse. They're the most frustrating people on earth because they say this stuff like they mean it, but they're lying.
It's really disturbing. And
it is.
I am going to come out like on record and say that I am 100% voting for Trump tomorrow. 100%. There is nothing that would happen that would change my mind. At this point in time, because now I'm to the point from the media side, you watch one thing on CNN, another thing on MSNBC, you read something different on Huffington Post, you read something different on Washington Post, and then if you watch Fox News, you're the bad guy because you're watching a station that can't be trusted. Well, look the fuck around. Our whole system is fucked. I don't mean by any stretch of the imagination that Trump is right in saying the election is rigged. I don't, in my heart, I don't believe it.
Well, I mean, over time it is rigged.
Well,
it is just the Electoral College and restructuring counties and all that nonsense.
I've had that discussion with liberals too. Look, we're no longer, riding around in covered wagons. We have the internet. Everybody gets the message. Right. Everybody gets to hear the presidential candidates talk.
California should have 10 electoral votes, not 55.
Well, it's based on population, and Alan would school you on all that. But
no, he wouldn't. He's a fucking
to me, too. If my vote in Hunterdon County, New Jersey, counts differently than some guy in California, my one vote for vote, if it ever ends up that the popular election is different, the popular contradicts the electoral, then I say something's wrong. People will say, no, it's sampling. That's a whole nother discussion. We're not going to have time to get into that.
No, we're not.
But I am going to vote for him. I would encourage everyone to really think about where things are right now. What goes on in the media, on the news, on all sides, on the Republican side, on the Democratic side. It truly is disgusting what we've become.
Yep.
And I am voting for Trump because it has to stop. He might fuck a lot of shit up, but I'd like to hope that this is somehow or another a reset button. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yep. Well, I've been saying, you've known me for a long time, and I've been saying for a long time that it's all of them against us, and it has been forever.
But know what the problem is? I know you've been saying this, but when you say this stuff out loud, I firmly think that a whole bunch of people that listen are going to go away. They're going to go away because they're going to be as passionate as I am, but on the other side. I think that's what's going to happen. And, of course, fucking Alan, who I blocked, he said to me, well, you might want to be careful what you say because you don't want to lose your audience. I don't care. This doesn't pay my bills. I don't answer to anyone but me. That's it. And I'm not going to be belittled, much like a person of color or a Spanish person would complain about how the Republicans treat them. That God forbid you pick on anybody who's different, gay, whatever. They have the right to be outraged, and I don't. When somebody tells me over the telephone, imagine how much farther you'd be in life if you went to college. You motherfucker. I made 5 times the amount of money this year than you did, and you're going to tell me something like that? Not happening, dude.
Awful lot of college-educated, unemployed people these days.
You're absolutely right. I'm done. So, yes, tomorrow, I'm pulling a fucking lever, and that's it. And then we can go back to everybody hopefully talking about car shit every day, because that would make me happy.
Me too. I just hope we don't have a woman president.
I think we're gonna.
I don't think we're
Look, I'm hopeful.
Maybe she'll start on fire tonight on live TV.
Spontaneously
Yeah,
combust.
that'd be awesome.
The one thing that I do want to point out that everybody else needs to keep in mind here is no matter where this election goes, understand this, that if Trump does lose, approximately half of the voting electorate wants the guy.
Yep.
And it's a very dangerous place for liberals to say things like stupid, uneducated, misogynistic, racist. It's a really fucked up thing to do because
we're car guys.
You're dividing the country yet again.
Yep.
So that's it. Rant over. I'm sorry a little, but I had to say something.
Shouldn't
dude.
be sorry.
I had to.
Fuck it. All right. So let's talk about car stuff. Tad, what do you got?
Bueller? What? Oh. What do I have? I don't even know now.
Oh, you're
You
fantastic.
scattered my brain, man. Again.
So, we got somebody on hold.
This could be our guy. Hang on a minute here. Yo, buddy, you're on.
What's going on, guys?
Who's this?
This is Luke.
Oh, Luke, the guy that I asked if your phone was broke?
Yeah, it's not broken, asshole.
That was pretty good. What's up, man?
I just wanted to call and give you guys a shout out. I found you guys on podcast a couple months ago and started at number 1, and I am officially caught up to the live shows.
Damn, man, that's one binge.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And then wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Drag Week. Are you really thinking of doing the Corvette?
Yeah, we are. And we got a little bit further on that, and we'll touch on that a little later on. We got some pricing. We got some things together as far as what can be done and when and how quickly. So I think it's pretty much a go. We're waiting on one thing, right, Tom?
Yeah.
One piece of information.
Yep.
And then we should be ready to go.
Yep.
Nice.
But yeah, we're definitely going to try to get that done. And, we're pretty good on the engine side. We're waiting on transmission stuff. Mike bought the polisher to
Look, you really want to get me started about that?
No, I don't.
We won't
I
get
really
to
don't.
any other guests.
yeah.
Please.
Come on, I had to throw that in.
I'm sure you did. But Luke, I will tell you this.
All goals.
I know that I know, and I appreciate you calling. I do, but our guy, I believe, is on hold. The sloppy mechanic guy, Matt. Now, you wanted to ask him a very specific question, didn't you?
Yeah. When he gets on,
He can hear you, so just fire away.
Yeah, he can hear you because when you're on hold, you hear everything that's going on. So knock yourself out.
okay, let us know how to get in touch with you about the tuning classes, how much they cost, if they're online based, or how they work. I would like to take some.
Fantastic. All right, Luke. Well, thanks for calling, buddy. We appreciate it. Keep listening. Spread the word. We really thank all the listeners. We really do.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Good dude. That was funny. He's like, ask him this. Was your phone broke?
Wow, Aaron actually took the day off to listen.
No kidding.
That's pretty cool.
He's another real good guy.
I know.
Making people play hooky.
I'm pretty sure this is Matt.
I wish he could vote.
Yeah, right. Hello?
Hello?
Is this Matt?
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Little quiet, but we can hear you.
Oh, okay. How about now?
Much better.
Okay, cool. I'm digging up a link for that guy right now. I'm going to post it in the chat. For
Perfect.
The, glasses.
There it is.
Now, Matt, how do you pronounce your last name? Is it Happel?
Yeah. Yep. You
Okay.
nailed it.
Okay. Matt Happel from Sloppy Mechanics.
Is he on a headset? Are you on a headset, Matt?
No.
Okay. Good. Fire away.
Fantastic amount of videos, and the videos are kind of the tip of the iceberg. And it was put on the Mixler description that people would think sloppy mechanics would refer to maybe somebody who just does crappy work. But I think, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what this actually is it's a mindset of how to make something extremely fast without, going to an engine builder, spending $5 million on everything you need. I mean, is that a pretty fair assessment, Matt?
Yeah, aside from being it's like multifaceted. There's the YouTube stuff, and then there's the self-help stuff you can look up, and then we have like a group where sometimes it's helpful and sometimes it's just shenanigans, and we do tuning classes now. But yeah, there's a lot of it's trying to kill like the old school. I don't even necessarily know old school hot rodding mindset, but anymore people have adopted where like a guy can go to a car show and he'll be like, I got a $54,000 motor, and everyone's like, wow, you win today. Like let's just bow down because you spent a ton of money. And from my point of view, I'm like, what have you been doing with that? It's more like economical. I'm like, what have you accomplished with a $54,000 engine other than looking like an idiot to people that understand that it doesn't take that to, get a horsepower goal or an EP goal or whatever else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, bench racing, but.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what the bragging rights, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, the end of the day, what matters is how you get the thing down the track. So, Matt, I guess probably the best place to start is how did this whole thing start? Because you've got a hell of a collection of videos. you got an awful lot of information out there.
Yeah, I think someone made a joke about something the other day, and I looked, and there is like a little over 1,400, I think. And it started as simple as like Jackass, where we started doing stupid things with cars, and I'm like, I'm gonna start a YouTube account and just start uploading it all. Even if one person watches it, I don't care. It's just so the rest of us can chronicle it. Like when we're old and we can't even like drive anything anymore, we can watch these stupid videos. And I started it on my birthday, like in 2006, and then we would just do stupid things with cars for fun, because before Cash for Clunkers, you could buy, I mean, this makes me sad because I love like old American V8 cars. You could just draw, like, if you've ever seen like Roadkiller, David Freiberger and Finnegan, like, where they make a comment, they're like, I'm going to buy a $100 car and just drive it off road.
And I gotta interrupt you here real quick. I forgot about that. Cash for Clunkers. That probably took a bunch of Malibus and shit like that just right out of the picture.
Yep.
Gone.
Yep.
It basically ruined all old classic American V8s. Anything that's left right now is some guy that, if you guys have ever seen regular car reviews, I'm gonna quote him, like, where people are like, rare car, it's rare color, it's, they want $3,500 for a $250 car, and no prize to them just because they didn't drive it or kept it for so long. It's still a giant piece of shit. Like, who cares about it, dude?
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask you, one of our, I haven't seen many of your videos. I've seen a couple. This is Tom. But one of our listeners just asked about a piece of shit downpipe that went from car to car. So tell me that story.
Yeah, we've had as part of cost savings, I literally have like a bin at home of just stuff I've cut off of cars, or, we'll keep it because people they're going to buy like an entire set of exhaust pipes and make brand new stuff every time. And I have like a bin of stuff that's like V-banded or whatever. And if I need to make a downpipe off a turbo, we'll just cut it and make something disgusting and stick it on a car. And one or two of them, we moved from car to car. I mean, I don't know exactly which one he's talking about in particular, but it's funny. We have done stuff like that before many times, but I think the one he might be talking about is one we had on like my Fairmont, and then we put it on we repurposed it to a Sunbird that we had that was LS swapped, and then we put it on my friend's notchback. And at the end of the day, it was just this disgusting thing. It looks literally like a bad Frankenstein stitch work. And we put it on my buddy's car, and it went high nines. And the whole joke is where people are like, "That looks disgusting," and we're like, "But it works.
It does the job."
Who gives a shit how bad it looks?"
Did you say LS swapped Sunbird?
Yes.
I don't even know. Is a Sunbird like a Monza, only Pontiac?
Correct.
Oh my God.
As far as I believe, yeah.
Did you ever do an LS swap AMC Pacer?
You should.
No, not yet. No, we haven't done a lot of. That's another one of those things where we mostly do older Fords, very few Chevys, because the Chevy stuff, in my opinion, you can't get as good a rear end. Like we're economically driven. So when you buy like an old Ford Fairmont, you can get a Fox body rear and drop it in, or do like, if it's a leaf spring car, you can do an Explorer rear for like $50, and you can go like bottom nines on a completely stock $50 Explorer rear that's cut down and jammed in a car.
That's amazing.
Yep, that is crazy. What is it? An 8.5 inch?
Yeah, or 8.8.
8.8.
8.8.
8.8. Right.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like I have a Rubbermaid container filled with gear sets from 273 to 456, and they cost like $20 a piece, and you can just slam them in.
And I guess you don't care if they make noise; just throw them in.
Well, you know what's kind of funny? This is like going back to the Circle Track days when the guy they had to make their own shit work.
Yeah.
It's taking a different approach to an old problem. I mean, the fun's a low problem. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the whole idea was I would go to like car shows, and people would have tons of money in something, and they would go to leave these car shows, and everyone's like, "Yeah, dude, floor it," and they would floor it. They would go squeak, squeak, and that was it. That was all the wheel spin you got, And these guys were like, "Man, that's badass,"
I watched
part of it. It's like
I watched something on your website, and I can't remember what vehicle it was. When I described the video, I think you'll know exactly what it is. There was a bunch of people in a parking lot, and this was like a very unassuming looking, just regular driving around car. And you hear the thing get on the throttle, you hear it come up on the turbo, it just spinning the tires, like, and everybody was like looking like, what the like, couldn't understand it. I'll have to go back and look and see what video it was, but it was a real regular car.
You're probably referencing is one of my Fairmonts, Fairmont number 2 probably, and that was like an all gold car and had the wing windows in the front.
Yeah, that's it.
And, I mean, we basically, it's called there's a country car show out here called Wheels of Time, and we always go. We call Friday night burnout night. And me and a bunch of friends, I mean, they've been doing burnouts for longer than Sloppy Mechanics has been around, but this in the same instance where people will bring like, they'll have like a giant old car with like, the tiger tail out the back, and everyone's like, "Wow, that thing's badass." And the guy will struggle to do a first gear burnout.
Yeah.
It'll hit second and be all converter, and everyone's like, "That's amazing. That thing's incredible." And we started taking our piece of shit cars there and like burning the house down, and just like smoking everyone out or lighting stuff off in high gear. And then we started bringing like the ridiculous turbo cars, like that Fairmont went high nines. And I just do like a rev loop and a burnout for like 800 feet past everybody, and everyone's like, the main reaction is that everyone's like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
Like they don't even know what happened all of a sudden, because they're like, I just saw a bunch of cool hot rods that could barely turn a tire, and then this total piece of shit Ford with like rusty fenders just boiled them like he wasn't even trying, all over the revometer for hundreds of feet, and didn't run into the crowd and kill anybody.
Well, you'd have to be in a new Mustang for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, part of it, it's funny because some of these guys scare me because I feel like they never really get the tires turned over, and when they do, it surprises them so much that they lock up and they do stupid shit.
Well, let me ask you a question. Like some of these cars, like that Fairmont that went into nines, and I hate to ask this question because it's probably going to make a bunch of people sick that are struggling to get in nines. What did you really have into the thing?
Oh man, not much. I like to say the first couple iterations when I was learning, the car would go bottom tens for about $4,200.
Wow.
Was that with the twin head or the two different head motor in the first one?
Yeah, before that, but that's the same car. Yes.
All right.
And that's with an eBay turbo?
Correct.
My
Yeah,
God.
when we were first learning, we did what anyone would do is we spent a lot of money on stuff and went slower or went exactly the same speed. So.
Or broke expensive shit.
Yes, correct. Well, we didn't really have, other than like some transmissions or other stuff, there wasn't much expensive stuff going on at all. I mean, the most expensive stuff we might have had was, I think I bought the transmission. I went on Craigslist and bought a TH400 and a converter for $300 for that car. And then I put 273 gears in it because I would drive it to the track, and this, like, it prefaces, like, a lot of the things we learned, where there's some things, obviously, you need to spend money on, and some things can be, like, disgusting and cheap and worthless, and it doesn't matter. So there's a whole pile of stuff that doesn't matter, and there's, like, a short pile of stuff that does matter, depending on how fast you want to go or what your horsepower goal is or other stuff like that. And one of those main things is, like, I watched a bunch of your, like, last 4 episodes, and the guys will say, like, converter. Converter is very important, and fuel is very important.
Now, how about things like engine management on these LS motors? What did you guys use?
Wait,
hold on.
Wait, before you answer that, guys in the chat room are saying that they lost audio, and Jeff Hester, Jeff H, can you hear us okay?
Uh-oh.
Hang on a second.
Working for SRT4.
Some people are saying just got to refresh it, just Mixler. Some people dropped out.
Yeah, some people are dropping out. Some people can hear it fine.
Well, whatever. It's a podcast. You can get it later.
True.
Oh, nice.
Oh, they all refresh and it's okay. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so just Mixler dropped it. Okay.
Yep.
So engine management. What was like the question?
Yeah. What'd you end up using for things like this? I mean, did you use a stock?
Well, we were all over the board because I'm not a professional, obviously, and we didn't have a lot of money to buy something nice, and we didn't have any money, or even if we had the money, we just didn't care to spend it to, like, pay someone to tune it, because we see that along the same line as where you spend a ton of money to have someone build a motor for you, and it takes 2 years and you never get done. So we're just going to do everything on our own. Like I would say one of the main, anyway, we use like Megasquirt, stock computer, a whole bunch of shit. But
I got to stop you real quick because Scott Clark just said on there, he's a Megasquirt guy, said the only people that can listen are people with a timing light. That's so. I guess. Do you not have a timing light? Do I really want to ask that question?
Well, I mean, that'll be like a whole other thing, but you can bring that up later. He's go back and forth with me lately because I have a bunch of like pretty high horsepower stuff lately, and we haven't checked the timing on them at all. Like, we never put a light on them, but we put them on the dyno and we put them down the track and we see like how much ignition it likes, and that's what we give it. But the whole, like, he's just been like trolling me on that where it needs an ignition light. I need to know exactly how much timing is in it.
Well, because you don't really know because you never had a reference, is what he's saying, right?
I mean, the car is using a crank trigger and a cam position sensor. I mean, he's totally correct that it could be off.
Yeah.
But part of our funny thing with him is he's very by the book and I'm very not by the book. And, he's like, well, you're doing a disservice to your friends and you're an idiot, which is true. It's true. But even if we knew exactly what the ignition was, we would still just give the motor what it wants anyway. And I am going to make a video soon where I check the timing on my Colorado. I'm using a Megasquirt 3 system on my Colorado, and I've never verified ignition. So I think it would be neat to show people in the video how to, check it correctly. But the stock computer, if you're using a stock, like a Silverado computer, it has strategies where it fixes itself, like it checks cam position and some other things, and it always has pretty close ignition. I mean, I've never checked it, so I could be wrong. Other people could correct me, like your guys that were on earlier that, like, know way more about stock ECU and timing and ignition and tuning. I mean, they're professionals, so they've probably checked it. But from general consensus, people agree that like the stock computer has its own self-check for ignition amount, and that the Megasquirt system does not. So it's good to verify it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, but the factory ECU has to know a starting point. Anything has to know a starting point. I mean, if you're starting at
just like all the MS3 systems, I mean, none of them have failed to start the engine and generate 800 horsepower immediately. But Scott is just, he just wants to see everybody do well and buy the book. And he'd rather see me put a light on the damn thing and know for sure instead of, break something. So that's his point, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, he's kind of right, but just not in sloppy mechanic world.
Well, I'll say this. He wrote, yeah, and he's also seen a lot more LS connecting rods than I have, and
for sure. I do a total separate way of doing it. So
yeah,
that's pretty.
He
funny.
keeps the shit inside the oil pan.
Yeah, out of sheer boredom, I may just launch a rod out of a motor. Like one day, I might be on the dyno. I've done it with plenty of projects where there is a perceivable safe amount, and I will just keep going and just bust it and be like, well, and Scott will be like, here's all the reasons why you're a moron, and I'm like, that's fine, Scott. Totally, you're not wrong with any of those suggestions at all, Well,
I mean, the cool thing is that $300 a pop, you really don't have to care about blowing a motor up.
No, yeah, and that's the whole reason why we do what we do. And early on, I would say my biggest inspiration was what's his name? He made the first one I've seen anyway. 1320 did a lot of videos on it. James Newman, I think, or Neiman, or however you say his name. Parrish was his name on the internet. His username.
No clue.
And I think one of the other gentlemen referenced him as one of the first 5.3 swapped Fairmonts. And he would go bottom nines, or it would go low tens in his class. But at the end of the drag week, they ended up going low nines. And I learned a lot from those guys. And I saw that they used the 6010 MSD box, the carbureted box.
Yep.
And they wired the ignition out, the tack out wire, into a Megasquirt 1. And I'm like, shit, I could probably figure this stuff out myself. It looks simple enough, so let's be stupid and let's do it. And the first car we swapped was, my buddy had a 73 Pontiac Ventura, which is like a Nova, but a Pontiac.
Yep.
And we went to a local junkyard, and we pulled a 4.8 motor out of something, and it was $80. And we slammed it in this thing, and I wired up the 6010 box, which was easy because it's plug and play. And I bought the short wiring harness. Megasquirt comes in many. Possibly one of the hardest things to understand about Megasquirt is the iterations and how many different ways you can purchase it as a build-your-own kit, with a long harness, with a short harness, with no harness. You can make your own pinout. It's mind-blowing, the combination. That's what I think people's biggest gripe with getting a handle on it early on is there was no plug-and-play options, and it was just difficult to get on the ground and get running, Because you would ask for help, and people would be like, it's all in the documentation, and basically slam the door in your face. Which it's not like that anymore. I mean, in some instances it is. But anyway, we got I bought a 13-inch wiring harness that plugged into the MS1. I built a Megasquirt 1 by myself and got it working. And we did the most disgusting wiring job in the world. We built the car in my friend's dad's driveway underneath a little carport tent you could buy because it was raining at the time.
Those are great.
When we were doing the engine swap. And there's no wire loom at all. Every wire is just running across the entire engine. And we just laughed about it until it started and ran. And we're like, shit, this thing, it runs. What do we do? So knowing nothing, we just got the smallest turbo we could find from some friends and did non-intercooled and put it on the dyno and made 460 to the tire. And we're like, holy shit, this works. And we promptly blew it up. We broke a few pistons. So we're like, okay, what did we do wrong? Maybe it was non-intercooled or whatever. And then we quickly learned how small the turbo was. This is where the Sunbird comes in, but we bought a S475 from my friend, put that on, put an intercooler on it. And we started making 5 and change. And then we're like, holy shit, we're making 500 some tire.
Is that a Borg turbo?
This car. What's that?
Is that a Borg Warner?
Yeah, sorry, it's a Borg Warner off-shelf S475 with it's a monster. It's a T6 hot side 135 AR. It's a $600 off-shelf unit that can do like 800 tire. It's pretty capable.
Yeah.
But, you know, and on a 4.8, it's a tiny bit laggy.
Yeah.
Especially with people who have no clue what they're doing, tuning it and setting it up. And we made enough power that, you know, we could just junk transmissions and a bunch of other things and try to get a handle on everything. And then eventually we evolved into making another Megasquirt system run on it, which is a little bit cheaper but has ignition control called the Microsquirt. That was designed to run like snowmobiles, motorcycles. It has 2 ignition outputs only and 2 injector drivers. But a super smart guy I know was able to like find a way to wire in there's 2 LED output wires, and he was able to like cross them in and create ignition outputs out of them. So you could run them in, so it would have 4 ignition outputs, so we could run in batch fire. So it could run a V8. And
that's crazy.
that, we had full ignition control, like 3D ignition control, and we had anti-lag, and soon after that, like we built a Fairmont, because my buddy's car, the Ventura was like a pretty big shit heap. Like it was not a stable car. The more power we threw at it, the harder it was to drive, and it was just fun. And I had built the Fairmont, and the Fairmont would go like bottom 10s, like without any work at all. And part of my whole like learning everything on my own was I jumped on LS1 Tech early, and I would like be like, look what I built, and you know, this is how am I doing, and what do you guys think? And they would be like, you're totally wrong. This is all wrong. Everything's just, your welds look like shit. You know, your car's not going to go fast because your welds look like shit. So I learned a lot about those guys on LS1 Tech. Like everything just had to be pretty, so it didn't really matter. And I was building disgusting stuff, and no one cared until it started going like high 10s, mid 10s, low 10s, and we would laugh because I'm like, my car would sound like a snowmobile down the track. Like I had that $300 converter and tranny in my car, and I would drive like, yeah, the converter had, we measured it once on my friend's dyno, and it had over 40% loss.
Wow. So it was just running through the thing the whole time.
Slip. Yeah, I mean, consider the car had, it had 255 Mickey Thompsons on it, which are like a 27-inch tire. It had 273 gears because I don't know any better. I'm like, shit, I'll put 273s in a 3-speed with no overdrive in, and I'll drive to the track, which you could do highway speeds at like in the mid 2,000 RPM range, no problem. And then I would take it to the track and foot brake, some terrible foot brake time because the converter was no good. And, you know, I eventually started spraying it, and the car would 60-foot slightly better with like 150 shot on top, but it would go just as fast out the back. And I would shift my gear. I would, you know, pull all 3 gears in the TH400, and it would just hang at like high 6,000 range. And I would go through the traps at like 6,800, which if you do the math on a 27-inch tire with a 273 gear and close to 7,000 RPM, it's like close to 200 mile an hour. It's like 180 some mile an hour. You know,
you do realize that there's everybody from transmission people to torque converter people that are going to listen to this and be like, "Oh my God," they're just cringing.
Yeah, they're crying. And what's funny is I drove that car for like a year or two to tracks and raced it like that. So, and people would be like, "Man, what are your trans temps like?" And I'm like, "Man, I don't have a gauge. I don't want to know."
I don't want to know.
It's horrendous. One of our long-standing jokes is, you know, people are like, I'm going to put a cam in my LS motor. Like, they'll post on Sloppy. They're like, man, my cam bearings look like shit. We're like, change your cam in the dark. They always look like shit.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually true. We all know that.
Oh, my God.
Change your fucking cam in the dark because the shits always look like sandpaper. I said, unless the bearings come out on the cam, jam the fucking
that's
Matt,
so true.
If this is all right with you, Scott Clark is on hold. He wants to get put on. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's going to say, well, no. All right. Scott, you there?
Frickin' Happel. Are you there? Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, no, I just wanted to check in, man. I listening to Happel tell the story about me makes me sound like this evil overlord guy. No, I do. I give them shit all the time. They're hilarious, but I mean, have you guys discussed like how many viewers you've had of your videos and followers and people who have cloned that the Turbo Fairmont recipe I mean, that's borderline amazing phenomenon, really.
Well, how many?
Hundreds? I mean, every time you see 3 or 4 of them at Drag Week every year, you know, I mean, all across the country, and they're huge out there on the East Coast.
Late car, cheap engine?
I don't know.
Wow.
Happel, do you have an idea? I mean, how many people are on your forum, or how many? You got billions of video views and stuff like that. I mean, these guys are.
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
a lot
of people follow that
I mean,
recipe.
am I still on hold, or can you guys?
No, we can hear
we
you.
can hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was waiting. I didn't want to interject. If you would ask, like, I have had a long-standing relationship with VS Racing, who I met on the turbo forums as selling like cheap turbo products. He actually sells what we call the Sloppy Mechanics turbo kit. It's like a build-your-own turbo kit, and it's modular. Because I would post my stuff on turbo. Like, you guys familiar with the turbo forums? Back in the day, it was called the turbo forum.
No.
No, not offhand.
Ever hear that?
No.
It's like it's basically like, this is funny. Like when LS1 Tech rejected me as a child, they were like, "Go away! You're ridiculous."
It's the same place I
found
went when
home,
I got
like-
banned too.
Yeah, like I found the turbo forums. Everyone's like, "Dude, you would be right at home here." And I would show them my results, and they're like, "That's retarded." Like they would look at it objectively, not to make money or not to make fun of anybody, but they're like, "Man, like, you know, if you hit something hard enough for long enough, sometimes you see a result, and this is the product of that." And then after a while, I think a lot of them looked at it and they're like, "Shit, some of this makes sense," and you know, some of these cars are really fast, and he has $0 into it. And he just turned his give a fuck way down, and his, you know, results started going up. And the scary thing is it became repeatable. Like, we started building a bunch of cars, and they were all doing good. And then I thought, for fun, you know, I'll just give away all of my resource and tell everyone. Because for a while, like, I felt like there's like a big mystery about hot rodding, and I have like my own little theory on that. But I would just give away all my info because it's not my day job to mess with cars, so I would give all away, like, anything that worked good. I would be like, here's everything, and here's how you do it, and here's the tune, even if it's wrong. Here's how I did it, and here's the links, and here's the guy you can call, and all this shit's cheap, and we've done it 5 times in a row, and it seems to work, so it's kind of hard to argue that it doesn't work at this point. But
I mean, these guys built an entire, like, how-to website and a bunch of YouTube videos that, I mean, he makes it sound really scrappy, but it's actually really helpful stuff. Like, it brought a lot of guys into the do-it-yourself EFI world. You know, what would seem like thousands of people, actually.
Well, I got to tell you, one of the things that I think that this really helped out was the same stuff we've been talking about, is like the 5.3 engine side of things.
Yep.
I mean, probably 4.8 and 5.3s doing what they're doing for so little money. And it's amazing. We always joked about it. If you went to a GM engineer and said, "Hey, look, I'm going to take this motor out of this pickup and
Boost
I'm
the crap out
going
of
to
it.
change the ring gaps and put like, I don't know, 30 pounds of boost on it with the 85. How long should it last?" It'll be like, you won't get 40 feet.
Yeah, 3 minutes. Yeah.
And look what's happening.
we have joked about the same, where I would love to talk to an engineer and be like, did you overbuild this intentionally, or were you aware that we were going to quadruple the amount of stock horsepower reliably? And, you know, just
On
to see what
top
they
part.
would laugh at, because, yeah.
They'd be all, you know, puffing their chests and stuff. Hey, Kevin, we know you're on hold over there too, but it's a little dicey with 3 people on talking over everybody. You know.
I'll let you guys go. I just wanted to send in my support for Mr. Happel. He's pretty hilarious. Don't let him fool you, though. That guy, he's also tuned at Ray Barton's shop. We sent him there once when I couldn't make it and he did a fine job.
Really?
So,
Well, we'll have to get a little bit out of him on that one too.
he's nowhere near the hack he would have you believe. With that, I will sign off. You guys take care.
Thanks,
All right,
Scott.
see
Don't
you,
be a
Scott.
stranger, man. See ya.
All right, bye.
He's another good dude.
Yeah, he is. So you're not quite the hack you
Yeah,
make yourself
yeah.
out to be.
I guess not. I guess, you know, I would tell you that it's all stupid and bullshit, but I tune a couple hundred cars a year, and they seem to do pretty good.
Well, let me ask you a question. You kind of reference this isn't your day job.
What's your day job?
What's your day job?
I manage data centers for a hospital.
There you go.
Oh, really?
Oh, so he's a tech guy. So he understands
Yeah.
computer stuff.
Button pusher?
Yeah, I've always been like, I can just tackle stuff and figure it out if I take it apart. So I like cars were like a passion, so we just jumped into that and started messing with cars.
And, it's funny. I've said it on other podcasts before. What got me into computers was programming a programmable DFI back in the day. That's the first time I picked up a computer, and then I went away from the cars and went the IT direction.
Yep.
That's kind of funny. All right. We got a guy, Kevin, on, who I think wants to ask you a question. Hang on real quick. Let me get him. Kevin, you there?
Sure.
Kevin.
Yeah, yes, I'm here.
All right, you're on the air.
Do you have a question?
No, I just called to listen. My mixer's all fucked up.
Oh, man.
Awesome. All right, you're going back on hold.
All right. Hold on, Kevin.
Talk to you guys anyway, so.
Yeah, well, thanks, dude. You're a big supporter, and we appreciate everything. But I'll put you back on hold, and and we'll come back to you before we're gone.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Kev, you might want to refresh your deal. That's funny. Yeah.
I fucked the Mixler.
Oh God.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I have like years worth of stories and stuff, and I don't know how long you want me to just like soapbox and grandstand, or if you have any particular.
Well, here's the great thing. You are actually in Pennsylvania, are you not?
Correct. Yeah, I live in Allentown.
Right.
So, like I had seen on there. I mean, he's certainly more than welcome to come in. I mean, because we could have a lot of fun sitting here. I
already mentioned to him on our, the email that you couldn't find, that I go to Easton every day, daily. So he's like, oh, you're not far away. I was like, no, it's.
And I'm like, well, shit, my dyno's on Airport Road, so.
All right.
Oh, really? I know where that is. We should go to him, actually. Bring a camera.
That's
just. Do you guys have like a Toyota cell we can put like 150 shot on the dyno? And,
Do we have a what?
I can give you my theories of like a saturation level with wet nitrous kits on beater cars.
Well, Tad's got a shitbox Lincoln out there. I know he loves that thing.
Oh God!
Videos is a Mercury Grand Marquis that we rented from the airport. And we sprayed with a 150 shot dry, and then we took it to the drag strip and raced it there. And it really had no disagreements with any of that, which was a big surprise to us because it would pin the mass air meter and go like 18.0 air fuel at the tailpipe, and then slowly work its way to a 1350. None of which is safe, and we put like 3 bottles through the car. It loved every minute of it.
That is crazy. And then you just brought it back to him?
Yeah, and we disconnected the easiest way to spray a nitrous rental car or your friend's car is to unplug the horn, because the horn has a nice high amperage relay and it won't burn out that easily. And you use a suitcase connector or an alligator or whatever people call. I like to call it the suitcase connector. But you crimp that on the solenoid and then just use a self-tapper and ground that shit wherever and puff that thing dry right in the airbox, no problem. We did a Lincoln after that, but we didn't take it to the track or anything else. We just did it for fun. But the Grand Marquis ended up going. We laughed because we're like, we're not going to even make enough power to spin the tires on this thing. So we took it on the regular radials. I think it went like 8. It says in the video it went like 18 something. Totally stock, and then spraying it went 14 almost, like 1420, but it was spinning out of the hole, and we were like, damn it, this thing would have gone probably 13 something if we had just put a set of radials on, because at the time my buddy had like a Cobra, and the 5 lug radials would have bolted right onto this stupid Grand Marquis. But there's some great photos. We went to Island Dragway. You guys ever been there?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
You know Artie the axe murderer, the guy that works the pit usually, like the staging lanes?
haven't been there in years, so no, but
he's got a bum leg, like he's got a fake leg, and we have a picture of us doing a burnout, and almost the entire rental car covered in smoke, and Artie standing in front of it with his leg bent in like a 45 backwards. And it's just like a iconic of Sloppy Mechanics. I think it's pretty funny. So
that is funny.
It's an older photo. We did that many years ago. I don't know if we could do something like that anymore, because I feel like every time I go to race my car at tracks, like people are like, hey Matt, how fast is this car going to go today? I have no idea who the person is. And they're like, referencing me by name, and I'm like, shit, you know, they're not even gonna let me through tech today.
Well, let me ask you a question on all this stuff. I mean, these cars, and I'm not making light of it in any aspect, but like, do they conform to what the track would like to see, or do you just go there and wait for them to tell you to leave?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's coming. I mean, part of it is like, I have like an issue with NHRA. If you're not racing at NHRA events, who the hell cares? Why do you have to conform to NHRA rules, you know?
True. Well, I think it's
just
so you don't die.
Yeah.
Turns and all. Yeah, they don't want you to die, but twice a year. I mean, if I do burnouts in this car till the cords show up every day, and then I drive to the track once a year and make a pass, and then that's life-threatening. It's kind of a joke to me.
Yeah, I hear that.
I agree with that.
So wait, do you
like I'll do 1,000-foot burnout down the road in an '82 Fairmont 4-door every day for, you know, hundreds of days out of the year. I think sometimes people, I mean, man, it's funny when you read some of the comments about some of the stuff I posted, you get results like, well, you get things from both ends of the spectrum. People are like, the motor doesn't last a day, or they're like, that's a built motor, and they're lying to you. It's not really a stock motor. I'm sure drag week guys run into the same thing where, you know, a bunch of those guys are going mid-8s on a completely stock motor, and guys that spent $13,000 on an engine are like, fuck, that's just not true. Like, I can't even listen to that. Like, they're just lying, and they're trying to, you know, I'm sure you guys can understand that aspect of it.
Which one of our guys said the built motor blew up on him, then the junkyard,
Jason Dozier, he just won a no prep thing, and he's a 5.3 guy in a
junkyard motor,
marquee wagon or whatever that thing is.
Yep.
What's funny is that's like the trend. It's coming full circle because I once tried to build a motor, and it took like a year, and I nearly needed to like threaten to beat the guy up to get my motor back. I'm like, dude, I don't care if it's done or not. I'm coming to get the goddamn thing. You know, it's been a year. What the fuck is going on over there? You know, but I mean, that's like a learned thing. People are like, yeah, it takes a year to get your motor built. And I'm like, man, how do you deal with that? Because I can pop a 4.8, go to Harry's, yank it out of a back in an afternoon, plug in all my shit wiring that you say isn't going to work, and go do burnouts and get Burger King. Like, no
I like that. Like your engine builders, Harry's, you pull it.
Now, for people that aren't from this area, you need to understand what Harry's is.
You pull it. Yeah.
Harry's is Harry's, you pull it, meaning you want it, you go get it out.
Yeah, you're like, you call up and you're like, hey, do you guys have a motor? And they're like, I don't fucking know. Why don't you trudge around in the dirt and fucking
find one?
For a while and see if you can find it.
Hey, real quick.
Funny aspect.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, we got questions flying by here. I got to ask you. One of our guys from Australia wants to know where did the nickname Denmark come from?
Oh man, that comes up a lot because it's so like, it makes no sense. It's kind of ominous. It's not an acronym for anything, and it doesn't mean anything. It's something I made up one day, like years ago, like just joining the internet, trying to join forums, and I always thought it was a joke early on, where people are like vet racer and their birthday or whatever. And I always thought it was stupid how, you know, people would always make weird usernames. So I completely made one up. And, like, it's so strange that no one ever registered it anywhere, so I could always register it. And, like, I guess I think it's funny. I think if you know me as a person, it makes a lot of sense, and it's funny that I would make something that people, like, focus on a lot that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely makes sense. All right, one other guy wants to know if you know. Yeah, I meant to ask you. So, do you have a chassis dyno?
Yes,
you do.
Actually, I mean, I call it my dyno, but what it actually is my buddy owns a place called Deal Paving on Airport Road. And he's a paver, and he bought a dyno back in like 2003 when he bought like a Cobra and a Lightning. And tuning and stuff for that was astronomical when they first came out. And he was like, you know, he's a car guy, and he's like, I got a dyno in a big shop. If you've seen some of the videos where we're at the shop, he's like, fuck it, I'll just buy a dyno, and I'll do enough side work. And what's funny is the estimator, you know, tunes SCP, so they just did enough back in the day to pay for the dyno. A lot of times, like, I'll have people meet me there, And they're like, so why the hell is a chassis dyno at a paving place? And I'm like, if you owned a paving business and you had room for a chassis dyno and you wanted one, would you buy one too?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I think we all would.
I'm right there with the guy.
We were just looking at him.
For nothing.
Yeah, for no reason.
I'm like, here's the funny answer. Why the fuck not buy a dyno and put it in the paving business? And they're like, yeah, touche. Okay, they just had to ask. But they were just doing enough work to make payments on it. And then I was in the area, and I'm like, it'd be cool to put stupid shit on a dyno. And, for a while, it's funny how when you don't know people that are into cars, it takes forever to, like, find stuff out or maybe source things and just even find a dyno or find someone to put something on or whatever. But it's funny, like now with all the people I know through cars, there's like 10 in the area that I can just go to within like an hour. Some are engine dynos, some are chassis dynos, and I know all the owners. And it's funny, like before I'm like, man, where does that stuff even exist? Like that stuff's unicorn stuff. No one has one.
Yeah, now they're everywhere.
I meet a guy at a paving business, and he's like, and we ended up being a pain in their ass. Like, we would call them and be like, we bought a Toyota Tercel, or we bought an 89 Grand Marquis, and we're total fucking idiots, and we want to spray it. And they're like, I don't have time for this shit. I got to bid like a $40,000 or $200,000 paving job at a mall or a house or whatever. So eventually we would go there enough where I struck a deal with Troy, and he's like, here's the keys, here's the alarm code, just do whatever you want, give me money. And we eventually paid off the dyno that way, and we started doing dyno days and everything. We do 2 dyno days a year, and they're gigantic. They're to the point where they're like total public nuisance. 600 plus people in cars are there, and it takes up multiple parking lots in the entire shopping center. And it's lately the police they just hang out there the whole time because it's just ridiculous.
That's amazing. But I mean, the bottom line here is you didn't start out to start this. You were just a jackass with screwing around with your car or cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were like, it's turned into like this, flipping the table on everybody where we're like, I mean, part of it, we've even done our own radio shows. Like maybe I could send you guys the links for that, where we talk to like my friend who owns a business, and I'm like, guys, you can't go to a business and expect this. Like, you can't expect sloppy mechanics out of a business. You can't go there and give him $100, and like none of that stuff works that way. Like, he's accountable for your items and everything else. But at the same point, it's put a lot of accountability on places where you buy stuff or whatever, because I feel like shops sometimes can own your car for like 4 years and nothing gets done and you're not happy. And I'm like, man, you could have like built that with your kid in your driveway and just go do burnouts and buy ice cream and have fun. Like, for a lot of people, hot rodding isn't necessarily like a horsepower goal, or going to the track and showing up with an enclosed trailer and a toter home and all that crazy shit. Like, I think there was an article recently where a guy won like $400,000 in prizes, and he has like an older F-350 and a open trailer that cost like $2,500, and he like won both classes in 2 different drag events. And everyone's like, oh, it doesn't take $1 million toter home and enclosed double-decker trailer with spare motors and everything. And I feel like that's like where part of hot rodding is lost.
The problem is I got a couple bracket friends that are like that. They have a mobile home and an enclosed trailer with the freaking golf carts and all that stuff. I'm like, you're just a bracket racer. Why you need all this crap?
Yeah, some people take it really too seriously.
Part of it is you ask them and they aren't even happy with what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not even happy. They're like, well, I ran Swiss clock times all weekend. That's fucking okay, I guess.
I can't believe what's going on in our chat room right now.
What?
The chat.
What about it?
Well, Chris S. wants to date Matt.
Oh, my God. I just looked at what the guys, what the
He said he's got a booth for 2 at Applebee's, hoping he's hairy.
Oh, my God.
What is...
Yeah, ask if he shaved her hairy.
What is going on, man?
But I mean, I feel like I made like a statement a long time ago where I said, just for fun, like, people were like, why do you give all the info? I can't believe you give away an entire build list, an entire tune-up, all the products, a guy to contact it to buy it all. It costs $800. You'll tell me how to do all of it. You'll pretty much guarantee a result. And I just said, like, I blurted, like, I'm giving hot rodding back to the people.
Yeah.
And for a while, like, I feel like that's, exactly what I try to do anyway, with trying to give away as much, self-help as I can. And, I mean, it attracts, like, just like, I think the Honda crowd right now is pretty terrible with people expect everything for $1.
Yeah.
And, I mean, part of sloppy mechanics is that, where people expect everything for nothing and a really good result. And it's funny, like, people who are long-term sloppy mechanics, like, have watched it grow, and they see people come on the community page, and people are just like, what spark plugs do I buy? And I'm like, man, there's an entire wiki page dedicated to, like, what spark plug you should put in your Turbo LS. And it's like, it's almost to the point where it's like Windbag explaining exactly what to do. And it even has the part numbers, because I understand when you go to AutoZone and you say, I need an NK BR70S, and people are like, they look at you, you can't expect those guys to know.
No, they say, what's the VIN number?
4-door or 2-door?
They ask what the VIN number is.
It doesn't, I mean, and it doesn't really cross-reference to that, but they can get them. So I give away the part number, like the TR6, like a 4177 or whatever. So I give away all that info, so it is super annoying when someone just jumps in and expects cater to them results. So part of what makes it funny, I think, is sometimes I'll give them exactly what they want, but not after, like, a lot of ribbing or, just being ridiculous. Or
so
I will post, like, 60 memes in a row, like, generated just as them. Just try to make them feel like an asshole, because all that stuff is readily available at their fingertips, and they still want to be the people on the forum will say it all the time, or the page, they'll be like, you want to be spoon-fed.
Well, what it really comes down to is you're fixing these people, learning that part of what sloppy mechanics is being resourceful. I mean, that's really yeah.
But the people take it to the nth degree, kind of like the liberals. Oh, sorry.
But that was earlier.
Did I say that? It's
every now and then, like, I'll be doing something ridiculous, and people are like, how do you even know if that's going to work? And I'm like, dude, I don't even fucking know. Isn't it great? It's like I'm taking a fucking rocket ship to Mars. I don't even know if I'm going to get there, but fuck it. I'm going to try it.
But you'll get most of the way there.
What annoys me is no one will try it. Just no one will. Because the whole thing of what we did is just like we have nothing to go off of, because everyone in our book is like a $200 turbo is a total piece of shit. And we've made like a $200 turbo a staple for people that want to make 500 tire.
And, look, somebody had to be first to be like, that pickup truck, the 5.3 motor or 4.8 big turbo, let's blow it up.
Yeah,
and then you find out how fast it goes, and you'd be like, this is impossible. Somebody had to do it first.
Can't blow this Silverado up, Yeah, I mean, there have been every now and then people say it all. I mean, some people get overzealous and they're like, Matt's the king of LS motors, and I'm like, well, that's kind of that's a nice sentiment, but people have done this way better than I have for way longer than I have. And a lot of them might not know that, like, I took a lot of my cues from that guy, Parrish. If you look him up, like, he did he was one of the first guys to use, like, a lot of DIY auto-tune parts, like the Megasquirt stuff. And he had that Silverado that was four-wheel drive that made, like, 1,100 horsepower. He had an MS-1 on it. And I'm like, man, I can do that, too. Like, that, how hard could that be? And then we started doing it. But I feel like that guy, in the same respect, would easily give away his info, but he didn't have as good of like a forum or a collective that I have to just give it away.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds to me like, and I think Michael agreed with this, you're never going to be rich, man.
not for the car stuff.
No, I do it for fun. For it's definitely, there is some side money to be made with that stuff, but there's no way you can just leverage someone that has $0. Part of it is like networking, and a lot of it is like I find like I feel good about helping people that might have struggled just make their goals, because I get like hundreds of personalized stuff a year that, like, they're like, man, I would have never finished my car, or I would have just been staring at a pile of parts or giant machining bills, and I would have never had fun or building something with my kids because I thought it cost $1 million. And then they're like, I bought all this cheap shit from you, and we would go out and it makes turbo noises and does burnouts, and it's ridiculous, and it's awesome. So I mean, that's hot rodding for a lot of people, is not going to the track and blowing your transmission every time you go to the track, but, you know, taking your kid to get ice cream and doing a 500-footer, you know, that's a lot of fun, too.
You know, I have a lot of free days with National Rent-A-Car. We should just rent a car and go up to the dyno, pay for a dyno day, and do a show there.
But if you blew the fucking thing up, do you just give it back to them?
Well, you buy the insurance.
Yeah, you buy the insurance for everything. You go, I don't know what happened.
Insurance, and we just, you know, that's part of the whole, like, fuck it, you know, whatever. If it happens, it happens kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you didn't crash the thing. It was a mechanical failure. I mean, would they ever have any clue?
The guy before me must have freaking beat the hell out of it. You know, that's what you claim.
Now it might be difficult, but what's funny is my buddy, the estimator, would be very good at, because one of them, we don't have video of it. I mean, I'll say it. It was so long ago. We got to be out of statute of limitations, but we rented another one.
Christ.
And he was on his way bringing it back to the dyno, and we put it through like the fence fucking backwards at like 50 miles an hour, you know. And for a second, we're like, "What do we do?" And he's like, "Well." He just took it back there, and he was like, "This fucking thing blew a tire and crashed me off." He's like, he just was angry with them and like, "Man, this thing was a mess, and it almost killed me." And they were like, "Man, we're so sorry." So he didn't play like the, you know, like,
I don't know what happened.
What happened? He was like, "You guys almost killed me with this car," and they were like, "Holy shit."
We can do that. I can do that.
Yeah. We're sorry, sir.
Yeah, like if you can just bust in the door and be like, "This thing is fucking dangerous. You guys are assholes."
Wait, I can come in. Oh man, look what it did to my back. So.
Yeah, like. Yeah, so it's all about, you know, taking that situation. I could never do that stuff. I would just be like, that's why, like, a bunch of my friends with, like, the sloppy mechanics stuff, my buddy Steve and, like, my wife are like, you know, because I'll charge almost nothing sometimes it'll almost cost me money to tune someone's car. And they're like, you know, you have to understand, like, you are in demand. You should at least make some money off of this. But part of that is not that's not my goal, is to make money off people. And, you know, I think sometimes I get, you know, obviously taken advantage of for that stuff.
Well, look, we'd like to help you make some more money. You know, why don't you give out your information and people can get in touch with you and talk a little bit about the tuning school and what it really is?
Oh, okay. I mean, I posted that link, but for years people are like, when people would come to me and I would I basically vet people when I do dyno tuning, because people think Sloppy Mechanics is a shop. And we're not really a shop. The people constantly are like, I mean, you'll see 1,400 videos of like some crazy shit, and you're like, man, where do I drop my car off? I'm like, well, this is not Vengeance Racing. Like, you can't just drop your shit off here. But, you know, like if someone has something that's very similar to something I have built, I have no problem helping them with tuning it. And even a lot of times when someone comes, I would teach them how to tune it. Like, I'd be like, this is what I'm doing. And I'm pushing for, you know, a good horsepower gain. And when it stops gaining, we go back. You know, we take some ignition out of it and we make everything safe. And hopefully your 248,000-mile van motor doesn't fucking sling a rod when you stand on it down the track. You know, it's all you know, up to a dice roll at some point. But so is your $13,000 engine too. Like, that's part of the game. But I must have 36 emails in my inbox right now that people want to schedule dyno time with me, but I'm like, I don't have time to do that stuff. Like, it's difficult, you know. That's like a struggle with me. But what we started doing was, my friend has like a business major, and he's like, people keep asking about tuning classes. Like, should we just do? And I'm like, man, we could never do classes because I'm terrible at organizing stuff and scheduling, and like I can't even remember what I had for lunch. Like, that stuff just, I would really struggle with that. He's like, we should do this. It would be good. It would be fun. And I'm like, fuck it. You do all of it, and I'll just show up. And, you know, I'll do what I can and just teach and show everybody. So he's like, okay. So I'm like, well, shit. He just agreed to do all the legwork. So now I got to do this. But we try to do one a month. This month we're doing a double header out of it getting cold, and the shop doesn't really have heat. So people are going to freeze their ass off in the next couple months. So this weekend we're doing double header, but the class is sold out as far as I know. They sell out usually a month ahead of time. Wow. But we do, I do, most of my tuning is like HP tuners, like stock computer, and then Megasquirt stuff. So
Okay.
we would stagger them, and then we would do like 1 month we'll do a class on HP tuners, and 1 month we'll do a class on Megasquirt, because obviously like resource for this stuff is difficult to find or expensive or whatever, and then you don't really get. You'll learn a lot from like engineers or people that can make videos, but people always say like they like learning from me at least, because I'll just be like, sometimes this isn't always the correct way to do it, but shit, it works like 90% of the time. So here's what I do, and people like enjoy that aspect of it. So because I have no professional training at all in tuning or using HP tuners, I'm sure some people. We joke about it all the time, but people who are pros must look at what I do and like cringe some days. But what's funny is it works fine. So I challenge them sometimes, like, what's wrong with it if the car drives 2 hours to the track, foot brakes a 9-second pass, drives home on pump gas? What the hell is really wrong? What isn't that the end goal, is to have like reliable fast car?
It's hard to argue it.
Yeah, it is really hard to argue with. What do you charge for a school when these schools are being held? Like, what does it cost normally for the school?
There are two. Depends. My buddy knows, he does everything for me, so this is like a tough question. I'm looking at the page right now, but I think he charges like in between 100 and 150, depending on the class and availability and what time and everything else per person. It's $250 for HP tuners and $300 for Microsquirt, and a $100 deposit to reserve a seat.
Wow,
It's pretty good.
it's not terrible.
Compare that to like other tuning classes are like $1,000, and it's funny because we've had some people who have gone to like the $1,000 class, and they're like, I think I learned more from yours, and it was a quarter of the price.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
We got to go up there
Or
have them here.
It must be okay. Like, we must be doing okay because we have people from like Phoenix, California, Western Canada showing up continually to every class. So we're like, holy shit, like, it must be really good for those people to completely circumvent anything in their area and come out here.
Cool. We might have to have this guy on again.
Yeah. Well, I think it's all pretty good. I mean, we got him come here.
Well, yeah, come on.
Yeah,
here
it'd be cool if he comes here.
Because he come here, it'll be easier. See, what a lot of people don't know, and I mean, I'm sure, Matt realized it. When you're talking on the telephone, it's very hard to carry on a conversation because you don't get the visual cues when the guy's going to stop talking. It's tough. It's not easy. So, and then when Matt's here, you could have people call in because there's a whole bunch of people that probably would want to directly call and talk to him. So we'll work something out.
Yeah, no doubt.
I can soapbox too, like a motherfucker. So sometimes you gotta. Basically, Steve's job during the class is to stop me when I sideline, because I can sideline for like an hour about something.
That's what
That's
we've
actually
been told.
Yeah, somebody just told us that in the chat room. Literally that.
Yeah, that I can sideline like.
You're a very good teacher when Steve keeps you in line or something like that.
On track, yeah.
On track, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, because they might ask me a simple question, and I'll start telling some ridiculous story, and everyone's happy to hear the story, but I feel like a piece of shit at the end, where I'm like, well, we just lost 15 minutes of your
tuning time.
Or me. Yeah. So that's part of Steve's job, is to be like, snap his fingers and be like, yo, fucking focus, dude.
Yeah,
like,
enough.
chill.
Yeah, enough.
Yeah, I mean, you're close enough. It would be great to have you come in and actually sit in here. I mean, that'd be pretty good, I think. And we should definitely take a ride up there one day.
Yep.
Wow. All right. Well,
Yeah, no problem.
sloppymechanics.com is probably the easiest way to find your resources, correct?
Yeah, and then there's links on there to go to, like, basically what I tried to make easiest for everybody to access is there's a wiki page where like all of the info and everything else is stored, where do you buy stuff, and I even started throwing in builds in there, like Scott was saying, like one of our first iterations of like a build is like all cheap shit, and I tried to give like a nice list of everything what to buy is all there. Like, you can just look at everything that was in the car and what the car weighed and like how fast it went and everything else, and you can pretty much figure, well, shit, I have that much money, I can throw all that bullshit in the 82 Ford and go fast,
Just trying to find the Ford.
And then we have like
the Facebook page and links to the YouTube page and everything else. But it's funny. I think sometimes people just jump on the page and they watch like the latest video, because a lot of them, like I might make an update video on something and they're all added to playlists for a certain vehicle, and they'll be like, "Man, I'd love to know more about this." And I'm like, "I have 46 videos about this, in a playlist." I think a lot of them, I think some people they have short attention span on YouTube and they don't realize you can click on, the person's video page, see all the videos, and see if they have playlists.
That's horrible. YouTube is just horrible. You'll get, before you know it, I don't know why it happens, I always end up back at police chasing guys on motorcycles. I always end up there. Google's got to know something, because I always end up right back there.
That shit's funny.
It is, but it's where I end up.
Back on it.
We actually have one of our Australian listeners trying to figure out how much of a ticket's going to be to get up here for a class and home.
I just told him it's probably $3,000.
Well, I got to tell you, Matt, this has been a blast. It's been a lot of fun, and we didn't even talk about, your particular recommendations for what you find. Here, just answer some real stupid questions that some people have asked already.
If people want to call in or ask or whatever, I'll answer it either.
Yeah, people just want to know, what's the right 5.3? Is there one to find?
What I always, my first thing when I tell people, I say, what's your goal? Because you can base, what I've learned over the years is to base your goal off of a horsepower, using horsepower as currency.
Yeah.
Because people are always like, man, I don't know what I want to do. And I'm like, well, what I find, I always make the reference of just doing burnouts with your kids and going to get ice cream. Because a lot of people don't realize how much horsepower 500 to the tire through an auto is. It's retarded. You could do 80-mile-an-hour burnouts, 1,000-foot rollers. It's ridiculous. And people they get used to watching 1320 video where everything makes 1,400 horsepower. And I'm like, part of me, is a joke of mine is that none of that stuff makes that kind of power, because people say it makes 1,400 horsepower and they fucking trap 140. And on my dyno, a Fox body that makes 600 tire will go 140 miles an hour. So I'm like, where is your double horsepower getting you? Nowhere, or otherwise something is, askew here.
Well, it's through the stock transmission and converter is the problem. So.
Yeah, the biggest defining thing is later Model 5.3s are the 58 tooth with the DOD and the VVT and all of that complex shit.
Mm-hmm.
Usually aren't worth the money, because you have to downgrade a lot of that shit to use a simple system like an older computer, or you spend a lot of money getting rid of the collapsible VVT lifters and everything else. I think the best money is, I always tell people, buy the most complete engine you can afford if you're just looking to swap something.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have a super high horsepower limit, obviously the LS2 based rod and piston is much stronger. I tell people, if you want to make over 550 through an auto, the older rod that's skinnier is susceptible to just bending and poking out of the side of the block, over 550 tire. Obviously that depends on, if you have a 6,000-pound truck and a 2,800-pound RX-7, that's a different equation, right? And if your converter slips 40%, I've seen that your other listeners and tuners obviously say the same thing. There's a difficulty there with if you have a super tight converter or whatever. But I always say, get the most complete motor for your money, because I know people who have spent they're like, man, I can get a really nice 0553, like an L33 or whatever, and they spend a whole shitload of money on a short block, and it has no coil packs, no intake manifold, no oil pan. And they spend $1,300 buying a fucking oil pan and a Holley intake and all this horse shit, and they're like, man, I don't have a throttle, I don't have a throttle cable, I don't have coil packs, I have to buy plug wires. I'm like, yeah, shit, man, you could have bought a $300 5.3 that was all inclusive, that was like a 2002, and you could have just thrown the fucking thing in and plugged it in, and you could have been doing burnout.
Yeah, that's what everybody's saying, the truck 5.3s. That's what everybody's saying.
Yeah, I mean, any of them are good. Even for a while, people were talking a lot of shit on an older 4.8. The older 4.8 you could get with paper head gaskets, and everyone's like, man, that must be a total heap of shit with the bad rods and the bad head gasket, and the cylinder heads aren't worth shit, and people are like, you got to buy. So what I did is I bought a $250 4.8 that was complete, intake the oil pan, and I put it in one of my Fairmonts, and it would go high 7s all day. It was paper head gasket, pump gas, like, stupid build. It wouldn't 60 foot for shit. It would go like a 1.8 60 foot and go high 10s at 136. And that was like the trash can build, because everyone's like, all of that stuff's stupid. Who would use that? And I'm like, man, none of you guys are going 1070 at 136, and you're certainly not driving to the track and home, and you're not using pump gas.
And you didn't spend $250 on the motor.
Yeah, and exactly, like that's the whole point. Like part of it depends on how fast you want. Obviously, the farther you get, the faster you want to go. But I mean, some people come on the page and they're like, I want to make 800 horsepower, and I'm like, you have to. There's a hump, like I'd say it's like 500, 550 horsepower, where you have to get the better motor, you have to get a better converter, or you're never going to see a good result unless you never want to race it. Obviously, the converter is going to have a lot of loss. You have to spend a little bit more, there's a hump there where your money is going to start going away. Whereas if you don't want to make that 550 plus, you can get away with everything off Craigslist and just laugh about how disgusting everything is, and just keep the sludge in the motor and put everything together with an impact gun and make 550 to the tire and never think about it. And you're better off. I would say you're not. We have a statement. I'm sure other people have said it too, but we say it a lot. I tell people, like, don't let the magic out of that engine. People are like, I bought a 5.3 today and I pulled the heads off, and what do you guys think? And I'm like, man, why'd you pull the fucking heads off? Like, why? You could have spent the time you pulled the heads off and jammed it in the fucking car already.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right.
Like, what head gaskets and what studs do I buy? And I'm like, all the stock shit you pulled out, put it all right the motor in the car.
Well, I got to tell you, Matt, this has been a blast, because it's nice to hear, what you can do with what, and like you said, letting the magic out.
Yeah.
Sometimes there is no magic, but the people got to think there is.
Yeah. It's all me and my friend, my buddy Corey, we always say sometimes it's just staying positive. Like when you and your friend are building a car, man, this thing's never going to run fast, or we're wasting our time. And I'm like, my buddy Corey and I say stupid shit to each other, like, you're an ASE mechanic. You're a master mechanic, dude. Like, you're really good. Like, we're destroying something, like, we're obviously being stupid. And he'll be like, you're a really good mechanic. You're doing a nice job. Like, we're wiping stink bugs. Like, there's stink bugs when we're doing valve springs, and we just put the valve cover back on top of the live stink bug. I'm like, yeah, man, he's pre-lube. Like, we're really good at this, And those motors have gone 9s, and it's just like a laughable thing that. And we say, like, we call my buddy's one garage. It's filthier than the outside, and we call it the clean room, and stupid shit like that. But it makes a point where, like, a lot of people spend so much time worrying about shit that they just don't get it done. And getting it done is what's most important, I think, most of the time.
Absolutely. All right, Matt. Well, I mean, look, like I said, we're going to keep in touch, and we're going to get you to actually come into the studio. And I think that'll be a hell of a lot of fun. We'll have a good time with that. And I wanted to tell you, there's a guy in there, Nathan, who said, when I was up in that area, I can't remember if it was the Kmart parking lot or Walmart parking lot, an orange, like 60s Nova. What a beautiful car. He said, you tuned that. Huh. You know what that is or no?
I would need a little bit more detail. I don't mean to sound like an egomaniac, but I've done a lot of cars, so I would need to know, like...
small block, like single turbo, 66 Nova was...
Ronnie Burns, you might...
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what a neat car.
I think you guys have talked about it in other shows.
Yeah.
That 406 small block, big tire car. We call him Big Tire Ronnie Burns.
Well, that was a beautiful car.
Out of Jersey. And, I had a tune-up in it, and we cranked it up, and he went to race it, and, like, his transmission and some other stuff went away. But I have dabbled in that vehicle, too. It hurts me to see how much ignition I have to put in a small block versus a LS to make power.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, we're going to get in touch with you, and we'll have you back on, and I think you should come here. That'd be the best bet. Somebody got a question, Tom, that you're looking anxious to the mic? Okay. Tom?
I'm not looking at anything.
I can definitely can't be far away, but yeah, I don't know if you guys have other people that need to go on, or you guys can stop me at any time. Like I said, soapbox.
Oh no, we're about done. It's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
you
Okay.
look. We normally go an hour, so you got an extra half.
And you were asking me, Mike, that you think the guy's going to have enough to fill any time. So
I guess he did.
Yeah, he did.
I didn't even talk about any of my particular projects. Like some of the cars I did 3-4 iterations of, and they were all successful, or some of them,
Well, we're
fucking throwing a dump.
well, exactly, and those are the things we want to talk about. We want to talk about the ones that were wildly successful and the ones that were the complete opposite.
Yeah,
that would
epic
actually
fails.
be pretty good.
Like I try to tell people, like if something's fighting you, get rid of it. Just sell it or scrap it as is before you waste the money. Because I feel like some people hold on to a project forever and continually dump money into like some money blender instead of getting anywhere with
or
it.
buy a polisher and anyway.
Well played, Todd.
You're trying, Todd.
Well
You're trying.
played, Todd.
I appreciate that.
I like it.
All right, Matt. Well, thanks again, and
We'll be in touch for
yeah,
sure.
we'll have him come in. It's great.
Yep.
This will be perfect.
Sloppy Mechanic. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah.
See you, buddy.
Thanks. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was actually a lot of fun.
It was,
But
it really was.
you know what happens?
What's that?
I'm used to sitting here for 1 hour. Now I got to pee really bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
'Cause-
Did you just say that out loud?
I drank a big soda.
Okay. Well,
What do you want me to tell you?
hit the button and let's
Great.
get us out of here.
All our listeners now know your secrets.
Small bladder Mike. What do you want me to tell you? Well, it's because I drink like 70 gallons of liquid a day.
Your
Yeah,
Route
you-
44 Diet Cokes?
Doesn't help.
Yeah.
I didn't get back to Kevin. Let me just grab Kevin. Yo, man.
Kev, you awake?
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
What's up? I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add before we punch out of here. We could have went on with that guy forever.
Yeah, I'd just like to know some specs on the Corvette for drag week.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what. It's been an hour and a half, and we'll get to that next week. But
Yep.
we've got we'll give everybody just kind of an update. The chassis stuff is all figured out.
Yep.
The engine side is pretty much figured out.
Yep. Got 2 cores.
The real whole thing here is driveline, like what we're going to do to get the power from front to back and make a final decision on that. And then I think everything can happen pretty quick.
And you got the polisher.
And I got the polisher.
Yep.
So it can be shiny.
Giddy up.
You fucking dickhead.
Giddy up.
We got a yellow polished up Corvette, you know?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Kev, I'll be talking to you, man. Thanks.
Well, if you want, just give me a call on my cell phone. You got my number, so.
Certainly will.
Wow, you guys are tight.
Yep. He texts me. He helps out.
Sweet.
He's the guy that started the whole drag week thing.
I know. He's awesome.
Why you got to be a dick, Tom?
I'm jealous.
All right. Thanks, Kev. See you.
Got more ideas for shows, too, so.
Okay. Well,
there we go.
We'll talk, buddy. I'll see you.
All right, thanks.
Bye-bye.
See you, man.
Thanks.
Another good dude. We got Aaron.
Yep.
All these guys. All fucking awesome.
Yep. They
Well,
are.
they're talking about making the small bladder mafia now down there.
Oh, that's
No way. That's awesome.
you
Tad,
know,
you did good today, man. You
know,
did
Tad.
good. Come on, man. Even you got to give that to him. Small bladder muff.
Oh, he didn't. No, he had. It was not just what I read.
fuck you guys. All right, we'll be back next week. I don't know. Tom's got some stuff working. I've got some stuff working. So
Yep.
we'll see if we can get on.
We'll be here.
Thanks. See ya.